Thanks for coming and supporting child abuse awareness with Darla J. Clark on caring community. Be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Welcome to my channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. By the like, it's the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and to comment. Your voice needs heard as well. Thank you so much. I thought this was interesting when I found this on the internet earlier today. And without further ado, I will go ahead. I always start off with the Bible verse, y'all know me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hung about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. You gotta learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, pick up the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips and balance in favor of fair use. So how y'all doing today? Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate y'all. So what y'all think about this? We're going to discuss the churches have insurance for abuse and sexual abuse. Have y'all ever heard of it before? Curious to see how many people has heard about the churches having this type of insurance. Did either of y'all hear of it? Welcome to my channel on Caring Community here. You have? You haven't, Jackie? Okay, without further ado, I'll go ahead and present the channel. I'll share my screen. And when I went right here, there's different Reddits and everything as well that discusses it. But we're not going to go there. Instead, we're going to go down here. This is one where you can download the thing, and it's got the insurance itself covers equipment safety and everything else, daycare. This particular one, it goes where preventing sexual misconduct, responding to an allegation of child sexual abuse. So I like to see how this particular place handles the situation of preventing sexual misconduct. I don't think my screen is showing big enough, so hold on a minute. Let me change that right quick so that y'all be able to see it better. Okay. Get over here. This one right here. That should show it. There we go. I think y'all can see that a lot better now. Okay, so this one right here is for the child safety for church, nurseries, daycares, and playgrounds. Guide 1. Preventing sexual misconduct. There are a number of proactive measures and programs that every organization can implement to help prevent sexual misconduct from occurring and minimize the risk associated with an incident. Too badly, a lot of people that's got this insurance, they're not going and protecting the kids. They're really not. It's like they're covering their own butt. They're not going and talking about it. They're not going and putting it out there about their church that there's a pedophile in there that's harming the kids. Even if they know about it, they're not doing it. And they're mandatory reporters, so they're breaking the law right there in itself. Obviously, the effects of sexual misconduct can devastate the victim and the victim's family, but the damage does not stop there. Just one incident of sexual misconduct can destroy the trust, credibility, and reputation of an organization for years. Adding further pain to an incident of sexual misconduct are the legal costs of a lawsuit, which can ruin an organization financially. Please continue reading below to find more information related to sexual misconduct and learn more about effective sexual misconduct prevention procedures. While statistical information regarding child sexual abuse varies substantially, here are a number of dramatic findings from government and other authorities. Approximately 770,000 incidents of child abuse are reported per year, with 10% of those being sexual abuse. And so that's approximately. That's not all of them. A lot of these cases do not get reported. But that is a whopping number right there, right? Are reported per year. It is believed that less than 10% of sexual abuse cases are reported to authorities. I believe it's higher than that. They believe that less than 10% of sexual abuse cases. Excuse me, what about that thing in Franklin, Tennessee, with that judge and everything? They dismissed the cases of the people that do these sexual things. It's so wrong. Here in Tennessee. So the actual incidence of sexual abuse each year is much greater than reported. The most common abusers of children and youth are acquaintances of their victims. Sexual abuse occurs among all groups of society, in rural and metro areas, and regardless of race, education, or socioeconomic status. Child advocates commonly claim that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys are sexually molested before their 18th birthday. Our claim statistics at Guide 1 Insurance are also startling. There are 8 to 10 new claims of sexual misconduct per month. Approximately 100 to 110 sexual misconduct claims are pending at one time. You hear that? And if they furthered up and did all of it, I guess a lot of churches don't have the insurance because they don't want to be reported. They want to sweep it under the rug. The following loss statistics are further alarming. The Catholic Church of America has paid more than $2.6 billion in child abuse claims via the Washington Post. Says it. That's how we got that information. They got that information from the Washington Post. In a 2011 Oregon lawsuit, more than 500 victims were awarded $166 million for abuse inflicted by priests, according to the New York Times. Yes, sexual misconduct prevention procedures. Every organization that works with the public should have an official policy in place to help prevent sexual misconduct before it occurs. The following preventive measures are general guidelines only. Carefully screen employees and volunteers. The first step is preventing sexual misconduct is to thoroughly screen the backgrounds of employees and volunteers. Legitimate workers will not be offended, and the process often scares off unwanted individuals. To screen staff members, organizations can take the following actions. Complete a criminal record background check. Safe Church or preferred provider can help facilitate this important step. Visit safechurch.com and click the background checks tab to learn more. All employees and volunteers should sign an authorization form allowing criminal background checks to be completed. The bad thing is some of these crimes don't get reported, okay? So when they do a background check on an individual, they ain't got a record. They won't have a record, some of them, so that causes our kids to continuously be victimized. Require individuals to complete a screening application. The screening application asks about previous employment, experience with children, references, criminal record information, and other pertinent details. Diligently verify all information provided. Reference checks should include contacting at a minimum 2 institutional type references in which the applicant has worked or volunteered with minors in the past. For example, Girl, Boy Scouts, churches, and other organizations. Y'all, that reminds me, my dad was a Boy Scout troop leader. A troop leader, but the main guy in charge. Resolve any irregularities before a candidate begins work. Establish organizational policies and procedures. As a second line of defense, organizations should establish written policies and procedures for its employees and volunteers. Once policies and procedures are established, they must be communicated effectively to the staff, and the rules have to be consistently enforced. Here are several examples. Include a procedure in which you ask if the employee or volunteer has ever been accused of or participated in or been convicted of sexual misconduct. They're not going to complete it if it's not in a record. If it's not in a police record, they're not going to say, yeah, I have been accused of that. Have documented procedures in place on how to respond to a sexual misconduct allegations. Requires 6 months of service before a volunteer has direct involvement with or supervises youth. Include the proper ratio of adults to youth. Require a minimum of 2 non-related adults to be present at all times. Hold all youth activities in central, highly visible locations. Do not allow activities to take place in private rooms, offices, or isolated parts of a building. Keep all remote areas such as closets and unoccupied rooms locked. Have a responsible supervisor randomly monitor all youth activities. Supervisors should make frequent unannounced visits. Establish an action plan for suspicious behavior and to report complaints. Establish counseling guidelines for staff. Have windows installed on doors where activities and meetings take place, or leave doors open if there are no windows present. So here's an educational program offers your organization a third important line of defense against sexual misconduct. Education can be targeted toward employees, volunteers, parents, and youth to help everyone identify and avoid potentially dangerous situations. Effective education can include courses such as the following. Training courses for all staff members, all employees, volunteers should complete an initial training course on how to properly work with youth. This course should be repeated periodically. Document records of attendance, have a written disciplinary policy, research and train on your state procedures about reporting sexual abuse claims. Safety courses for children and parents. Children can be taught to understand the difference between good touching and bad touching, and parents can learn about the organization's policy to prevent sexual misconduct. There is an organization that's got a video song out for our kids. My body is my body. Develop the best prevention program for your organization. Through effective employee and volunteer screening, internal policies and procedures, and education, your staff can develop or further enhance its sexual misconduct risk management program to address the organization's specific needs. As a result, the entire organization and everyone it serves will be even safer from the nightmare of sexual misconduct. For additional details about sexual misconduct prevention, consult with an attorney. Become familiar with state laws. Talk with a Guide 1 risk management specialist. That's at one of the many. Is that one of. Oh, crap. I hated that one popping up. Is that one of the many public agencies dedicated to stopping sexual abuse? If needed, add additional liability insurance coverage to your organization's current policy. This can help protect an organization from legal liability, including defense costs arising from sexual misconduct by staff members or volunteers. And here's responding to an allegation of child sexual abuse. Many organizations have never had a serious claim, legal concern, or allegation of inappropriate sexual conduct. However, when an organization finds itself on the receiving end of either of these situations, it's helpful to know what to do. Responding correctly and in a timely manner can often reduce or eliminate the concern. Even if it does not, a proper and planned response can save your organizations thousands of dollars. Should a misconduct claim or allegation take place, the following steps would assist you in responding in an appropriate way that would not only respect the rights of the victim and accused, but your organization as well. The parent or guardian of the youth will be notified. Yes, yes, yes. The worker alleged to be the perpetrator of the abuse or misconduct will be immediately placed on leave pending an investigation and instructed to remain away from the premises during the investigation. Civil authorities will be notified and the organization will comply with the state's requirements regarding mandatory reporting of abuse as a law that exists. The organization will fully cooperate with the investigation of the incident by civil authorities. The insurance company will be notified and the organization will complete an incident report. Any documents received relating to the incident and or allegations will immediately be forwarded to the insurance company. The organization will designate a spokesperson to the media concerning incidences of abuse or neglect. The advice and legal counsel will be sought before responding to media inquiries or releasing information to the congregation. All other representatives of the organization should refrain from speaking to the media. If your organization is religion-based, a pastoral visit will be arranged for those who desire it. No, what if it's the pastors and stuff that's doing it? No, do not, do not, do not. Sorry. Do not, do not. Don't send that pastor around me. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to get to this one right here as well. There's child sexual abuse and insurance coverage right here. Avoiding common pitfalls. Okay, every church, whether it's multi-campus or recent plant, deals with insurance coverage. Ministry leaders tend to gravitate to the least expensive policy options and often lack knowledge about what they should be looking for when securing coverage related to child sexual abuse risk. Unfortunately, this reality is revealed only when an allegation arises. Clearly, child sexual abuse is a foreseeable risk causing incalculable harm to children, and a ministry's primary responsibility is to protect children in its care. In addition to implementing an effective safety system, see prior articles in the Stop Sexual Abuse series. Simple financial stewardship requires a meaningful evaluation of current insurance relationships, coverages, limits, and policy terms. Now here is a sexual abuse fire drill. I'd never heard of this. In classrooms across country, school administrators lead faculty and students through mock disasters, fire, shootings, bomb threats, tornadoes, and so on. To ensure the existence of sound safety plans, communicate expectations to all involved, and determine any necessary changes or improvements. A failure to drill a foreseeable disaster can lead to catastrophic results, generally with little or no warning. A meta-crisis is too late to prepare. The catastrophic event simply reveals whether the ministry took reasonable steps to prepare for the foreseeable event. One of the most common deficiencies revealed in a sexual abuse crisis relates to insurance. Incorrect coverages. I need that to quit popping up. I hit that earlier. Okay. I don't think it wants me to end up doing this. It just started doing when I was preparing for the show. Amid a crisis, it's too late to prepare. The catastrophic event simply reveals whether the ministry took reasonable steps to prepare for the foreseeable event. One of the most common deficiencies revealed in a sexual abuse crisis relates to insurance, incorrect coverages, insufficient limits, failure to notify the carrier, and claims made versus occurrence terms, among other issues. A fire drill related to sexual abuse insurance issues is essential for every ministry. I wonder how they'll do a fire drill based on sexual abuse. Anybody got any idea how they go about teaching a fire drill with that with their kids when it comes to sexual? We need to think on that, don't we? Insurance fire drill. Assume your church receives a sexual abuse allegation. For purpose of this exercise, assume the allegation involves multiple victims and the accused is a trusted staff member or volunteer. As to existing insurance coverage, the drill is designed to answer these questions. Does your church have the correct coverages for a multi-victim claim? Does your church have sufficient coverage, types, and limits for a multi-victim claim? Are there endorsements, riders, limitations, or qualifications related to sexual abuse coverage? The majority of ministries purchase insurance coverage through an insurance agent or broker. During the insurance purchase or renewal process, the primary coverage issue negotiated relates to property and casualty. The P&C portion of the premium would typically account for the bulk of the total insurance premium. Without an explicit sexual misconduct endorsement, sexual abuse claims typically fall within the general liability policy coverage. Most general liability coverage will now include a separate sexual misconduct section. Few policyholders are familiar with the terms of the general liability policy. The limits related to any sexual abuse claim or terms requiring notice to the carrier when a ministry receives facts that could give rise to a claim. Failures revealed in crisis. When a ministry fails to take the opportunity to drill a foreseeable risk, deficiencies are revealed when a crisis arises. Several years ago, our law firm, Love and Doors, was retained by a large church facing sexual abuse allegations related to a trusted staff member, with 4 female victims from age 7 to 9. The fact patterns related to the abuse were conclusive and horrific, and we advise immediate care and support for the abuse survivors and their families. So basically, it was a true accusation. Was conclusive, so it was conclusive, so they did it. They hurt 4 female victims from ages 7 to 9. You see that right there? That staff member. Initially, the allegations had not been reported to law enforcement in violation of mandatory state reporting requirements. So that's what the problem is, too. They will not report it to the police. You need to report it to the police so the person can be prosecuted. In violation of mandatory state reporting requirements. Some months later, the outcries were reported. Clearly, the church had limited child protection protocols in place, and church leaders had failed to act appropriately and promptly when the allegations first came to light. In addition, leaders had limited understanding of their insurance coverage. When asked, church leaders indicated that the ministry had insurance providing 1 million or 3 million in coverage. When asked whether their insurance carrier was notified when the initial facts came to light several months earlier, leaders replied no. See, they kept it hush hush. They did not call a police officer. They did not know to buy insurance. They swept it under the rug, so to speak. They were letting this culprit get away with what had happened to them, to these children. At this point, it was too late to drill. Several significant shortcomings were quickly revealed. Number one, no relationship with a knowledgeable agent. First, church leaders could not recall the name of their insurance agent. As a result, the ministry could not quickly and easily understand what coverages were in place. Commercial general liability policy, errors and omissions policy, directors and officers policy, and or umbrella policy. This delay was critical. The crisis unfolded on a Saturday and escalated quickly. A church must have an agent that is knowledgeable about the risks facing the ministry, including child sexual abuse, and be accessible to navigate issues that arise at the time of purchase and when an outcry or an allegation occurs. Number two, the second reason is the underlying policy did not provide $1 million or $3 million in coverage. Upon closer inspection, the policy included a specific sexual misconduct provision which limited coverage to for the sex abuse claims. The church had no E&O. As we read up here again, the E&O is the errors and omissions policy. They did not have a directors and officers policy or umbrella coverage. In the midst of crisis, these leaders learned the church's insurance coverage was grossly inadequate, and it's too late to supplement or improve coverage amounts. In the case, the insurance carrier tendered the 300,000 aggregate, satisfying its obligation under the CGL policy. The church was forced to absorb defense costs and indemnity out of pocket and quickly dwindled from a church with 36 full-time staff members to 9. As of this writing, it's unclear whether the church will survive. Before the crisis hit, ministry leaders should have secured sufficient coverage limits and considered purchasing additional supplemental and umbrella policies. When asked about the church's insurance agent, the executive pastor said the relationship was inherited from a predecessor. In the midst of crisis, no one knew the identity of the agent or his contact insurance information. Okay, would you not have the paperwork possibly in the desk, in a file system, the important papers? It was later learned that this agent knew very little about sexual abuse risk or related coverage solutions. Because I guess that falls into new. Because I'm not hearing that much about it. This was the first time I heard about it myself. Number three, no notice to the insurance carrier. I'm really more mad about them not notifying the police. How about y'all? I'm more angry that they will let this culprit go around still. Of course, it's going to be an outcry with people. I think if they would have went ahead and contacted the police and got this culprit arrested and did their diligence on doing that, I think they would have been fine about it anyway. Because that showed that they wanted to take matters in their hands and then protect everybody, the congregation in there, instead of trying to slap them on the wrist and do nothing, basically. No notice to the insurance carrier. Third, leaders indicated that they were informed about the allegations early on. What? But failed to notify criminal authorities or their insurance carrier because the reports were hearsay. Were hearsay? Excuse me? That's what y'all always say, it's hearsay. I don't care if a child comes up and says that she was sexually abused, and there's 4 girls coming up between the ages of 7 and 9, 4 different girls, and you say it's hearsay? I call it BS. I call it utter BS. The only reason you ended up calling them is because of the outcry. Because people were mad and furious that you were tolerating this kind of behavior. Church leaders were unfamiliar with mandatory report requirements in their state and the notice requirement contained in all insurance policy. I don't care whether it's mandatory or not. Protect the children. The notice provision generally reads something like this. In the event the insured receives information about facts that can give rise to a claim, the insured is required under this policy to notify the insurance carrier immediately, but not later than 24 hours after receipt of this information. There was no way the insurance company can help them out in this situation. Well, you deserved it, church. Excuse me, you deserved it. Because anybody knows that you're a mandated reporter. Everyone's a mandated reporter, basically. They want to use that excuse that they didn't know that they were supposed to tell. Excuse me? Church leaders had received an allegation several months earlier, but considered the information hearsay. An oral report from a parent about inappropriate touch described by their 7-year-old daughter. This communication should have immediately triggered a report to law enforcement. A leave of absence for the staff member for the duration of the criminal investigation, perhaps indefinitely. So look, they didn't even give him a leave of absence, y'all. He was still in the church. Ay, ay, ay. An announcement to the congregation and communication to the church's insurance carrier. Failure to notify the carrier in this circumstance can result in a reservation of rights or a denial of coverage by the carrier. Either scenario places a ministry in an adversarial position with its insurance carrier. In this situation described above, the carrier weighed its options and simply tendered its limits because aggregate $300,000 was insignificant compared to the cost of filing a federal court lawsuit seeking a declaratory judgment against the church, asking a court to find that the church breached its duty to notify the carrier, thereby relieving the carrier of its obligations to provide indemnity or defense. Value of the fire drill. The fire drill concept can be helpful in assessing insurance availability and sufficiency. By thinking through a multi-victim allegation, a ministry can evaluate all insurance instruments for potential coverage. Confirm limits and clearly understand limitations, if any, providing an opportunity to secure appropriate coverages and limits. The ministry should include its insurance agent or broker in this evaluation. For some ministries, other creative solutions might be available. Church leaders should clearly understand state reporting requirements and when to notify the carrier, as well as what information to include. A timely and proper notification to law enforcement and a ministry's carrier is far more likely to occur when staff members are trained to understand the risk the sexual abuse and the common behaviors of sexual abusers. When leaders fail to report allegations of child sexual abuse to civil or criminal authorities, children are irreparably harmed, and leaders open themselves up to to the possibility of criminal prosecution for failure to report. Yes, 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 yes. The criminal prosecution against them that knew about it and did nothing, right? When leaders receive information relating to an allegation and fail to notify their carrier, coverage and representation may be jeopardized. In this realm, training is the key. Children are better protected when ministry staff members have a practical, get back up this way, sorry, understanding of the grooming process. Here we go with the grooming process. We all know about that, don't we? Of the sexual abuser. Mandatory reporting requirements and the specific requirements of each policy concerning notification of the carrier. How many times can you imagine that could be one of their teachers, like it happened over in Tennessee, in Franklin, Tennessee, at a church and a Sunday school, and that little one kid was about 4 or 5 years old. He got raped in Franklin, Tennessee. Judge Deanna Johnson, or her husband, Senator Johnson, they dismissed it. They dismissed the charges against 4 or 5 boys raping this other boy repeatedly in a PE. They dismissed all that too. I think they should go to jail. I really do. In the past 2 decades, the number of lawsuits, settlements, and verdicts involving child sexual abuse have skyrocketed. Within the past 12 years, child sexual abuse cases provided the number one reason churches ended up in the courtroom. This trend shows no sign of slowing. We did stop it, y'all. Stop it where we wouldn't have to keep taking y'all to court about this, right? Particularly as state legislators expand civil statutes of limitations and pass look-back statutes which create opportunity for abuse survivors to bring civil claims regardless of their age or how long ago the abuse occurred. As a result, abuse allegations from decades ago become currently actionable. Y'all remember the other day I had told some of y'all about Louisiana having that statute, and a judge refused to let a friend of mine do charges against the priest who raped him because they said it's unconstitutional. And I was thinking they need to go to the state, to the governor and all that, bring that and bring up charges against them, so that took away his right to prosecute these people who did these actions towards him. But I think that's supposed to run out in June, and I hope they do extend it for that area. Okay, so these look-back statutes which create opportunity for abuse survivors to bring civil claims regardless of their age and how long ago the abuse occurred. As a result, abuse allegations from decades ago become currently actionable. Well, basically it does kill us, don't it? Kills us mentally, physically, a lot of damage. Insurance carriers know this better than anyone, given their obligation to defend and resolve legal matters. As a result, insurance underwriters, those responsible for evaluating the ministry's risk worthiness on behalf of the carrier, are far more careful in approving coverage of providing access to certain limits. Underwriters from major insurance carriers are now requiring that ministries demonstrate the existence of an effective child abuse prevention plan before providing coverage or approving a renewal. Ongoing legislative changes do not necessarily push a church to implement effective preventative protocols. Access to insurance coverage can. So the insurance company can mandate that you need to do this. If they don't do it and adhere to what the agreement is, they can end up forfeiting their insurance. In the past, as an example, the decision as to whether a church would allow a registered sex offender to participate in ministry services was an internal one. That might impact the church's ability to get or maintain insurance coverage. Insurance is designed to cover certain risks. Insurance carriers are now expecting churches to raise a bar to minimize the occurrence of child sexual abuse as a condition for insurance coverage. That trend will continue. Finding a competent agent broker. A church's insurance agent broker fills an important role in the ministry's risk management effort. The agent broker should have a strong understanding of the ministry's programs, coverage needs, unique risks, and methods to reduce these risks. Too often, an agent can assist a ministry in the purchase of property and casualty coverage, but remains ill equipped to address the risk of sexual abuse and secure the necessary coverages and limits. A ministry's fire drill should include evaluation of its insurance agent to ensure that he or she is familiar with the unique risks facing the ministry and safety system elements necessary to reduce child sexual abuse risk. Then to navigate child sexual abuse issues, it can be challenging. An effective safety system is crucial, and an appropriate insurance solution is essential. Ministry leaders must better understand the changing environment related to child sexual abuse risk. Before a crisis arises, intentionally evaluate your existing preventative protocols and insurance coverage. Keeping in mind the value of appropriate coverages from the right carrier and the assistance of an informed agent broker. Armed with an effective safety system, a competent agent, broker, and good insurance products, church leaders can better protect the children and navigate child sexual abuse risk. This was the person that Kimberly Norris and Gregory Love are partners in Fort Worth, Texas law firm Love and Norris, and founders of Ministry Safe, providing child sexual abuse expertise to ministries worldwide. After representing victims of child sexual abuse for more than 2 decades, Love and Norris saw recurring predictable patterns of predatory behavior. Ministry Safe grew out of their desire to place proactive tools into the hands of ministry professionals. Love and Norris teach the only graduate level course on preventing sexual abuse in ministry as visiting faculty at Dallas Theological Seminary. There's advice from an insurance professionals here, so let's go here. Okay, there's a difference between an insurance carrier and an insurance broker. In its simplest form, the carrier provides coverage. The broker works independently to shop for coverages offered by various carriers to meet a client's need. In the current ministry's environment, it's imperative to have both a knowledgeable agent, broker, and an insurance carrier accustomed to working with ministries. Gathered below are thoughts from carriers and brokers who provide competent guidance to ministries of all sizes and complexities. Okay, so we're going up here. They're basically going over the same things that they're saying. Like it's imperative that you let the insurance carrier know, and it goes like that, and it continues on. And then the Peter Pushy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Pursuiti, Pursuiti. So we click it out again. Okay, He's managing director, religious nonprofit practices Gallagher. Every year, Gallagher gathers ministry risk management thought leaders from around the world. New proactive ministries, including victim advocacy and prevention training, are proven to be more effective ways to put the vulnerable first. Gallagher is more than just a broker. Gallagher is a valuable and foreign partner as it relates to sexual abuse and many other risks. For ministries, we have designed risk and claims management solutions as well as risk financing solutions for 50 plus years. So we could go on and on and on. Let's see. Nolan, here's a digital solution. But let's get to the brink of it. Let's get to the brink of what we're saying here. What is y'all's take on people having the insurance? Do y'all think it's valuable or invaluable? To me, I feel like a lot of the churches are going to take the money, but they are not going to. I don't think they're going to be covering it because they don't want to be lawsuit. They're going to keep covering up what they've been. Hello, Blondie. Good to see you. Lots of love. I had fun last night doing karaoke at your place. It was a bomb. It's fun. But I came across this on them getting insurance. But still, a lot of the churches are still allowing the sexual abuse. So they are not going ahead and get the authorities to our kids when they hear about it. I believe they need, if they do not tell when they hear of it, they should be reprimanded and go to jail as well because if they're covering aiding and abetting a criminal, simple as that. If you're aiding and abetting somebody that's done these things, you're just as liable. That's the way I believe. Does anybody want to get up in the box and talk about it? Tell me what y'all think. If anybody wants to, just let me know. I'll be sure. I'm going to drop a link down here. Going to invite anybody is welcome to come up and give me their take. How you doing there, Blondie? It's so good to see you, girl. So if anybody wants to just hit that link, okay? You want to discuss this? I am glad that some of the places do have insurance for the fact that you could end up getting the medical attention for whoever was sexually abused in that congregation. But like they said, that person heard of the girl being fondled, being touched inappropriately. They did nothing. They did not call the authorities. They just said that, you know, was without merit, basically. And that's what they're saying over there in Franklin, Tennessee, when that somebody's got a video of it and it's called The Trouble in Franklin, Tennessee. With there's a big lawsuit that's they're trying to do too. I don't think they came to terms in that yet either. But there's a lot of people that's in power in our Tennessee government that sweeping a lot of this under the rug as well. We got churches, schools, and they're just sweeping it under the rug. I keep bringing it up, but look at the Aaron Solomon case. That is a good example right there. How he even had a restraining order against him when he's not even supposed to have been around Gracie, yet he shows up at the school. he was allowed to even go into the school where the girls were dressed out in PE, and he'd take pictures of the girls up underneath their skirts and whatever they were wearing. Hello, Tracy. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Glad you're here. Thanks for coming. I'm glad got to talk to you last night. Thanks for getting my book last night as well, Tracy. Um, this is very sadistic. We do got a major problem, but a lot of people are just going to get a slap on the wrist. We got to speak up for our kids. They are precious. They matter. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and in this one, I got another one in a few minutes. And that's going to be right up Blondie's alley. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for coming. And God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank you so much, there, Tracy. Lots of love. God bless y'all.